Happy spring, crafters! Or, depending on the part of the world you are, happy that season. I hope wherever you are, I hope you're getting some nice weather coming your way. In my part of the world, spring has sprung. Like the sun has finally come out, the plants are just beside themselves, everything is just turning green, blooming, sprouting, it's just going a little crazy out there. I gotta say, it's been very inspiring seeing the sun again, and of course, it means I want to do a little bit of a spring closet clean out, a little spring closet refresh, just to enjoy this new season to the full. But of course, you guys know that if I'm doing a little closet work, I like to do it on the cheap, and DIY is the way to go. In today's project, I am going to be brightening up some very basic pieces using tie-dye. You guys know tie-dye is one of my favorite, just fun, easy, relaxing projects to do, and I do it whenever I have an excuse to do it. One of the items I'm going to be tie-dyeing today was actually thrifted. I found a great light-colored hoodie sweatshirt with a little bit of a graphic design on it. I think that's going to be perfect to turn a new bright color for spring. And then to go with that, I purchased some stretchy knit pants, some like jogger pants to go with that. Those I did purchase at Old Navy, got them on sale. I think those two pieces will go together really nicely. And then I have a couple of sweatshirt candidates I'm looking at that I got actually at Costco. And all of these garments were plain, kind of light colors, and I think we could do a little DIY and brighten them up a little bit. Also make them a little bit more unique and a lot of fun to wear this spring. I may get a little bit of help in modeling some of these garments. I'm planning on seeing my sister, and I think one of these may be perfect for her. We'll see about some of the other ones, but come along with me on the DIY adventure. This is a really fun project. Doesn't take a lot of supplies and doesn't take a whole lot of time either. I'm actually going to be doing this process in my little kitchen, and it'll be a lot of fun, so hope you check it out. Maybe even try a little tie-dye of your own. Let's get started. I'll show you the pieces we're working with, and let's get to tie-dyeing.
Well, I got pretty excited when I found this white and cream and gray hoodie at the thrift store. It's in really great shape, looks basically new. It is 60% cotton, 40% polyester, and to me it is just begging for a little tie-dye. Oh my gosh, I think this one will be just very easy peasy, fun project. I think the tie-dye will look really nice with the logo on the front. Fun project, should be fun to wear as well. Here's the dye color I'm looking at today. Fuchsia? Whoa! Okay, I'm not generally speaking a huge pink person, honestly, but I like this color. I'm not sure why. Maybe because it's got some blue in it. It also looks kind of nice halfway between their really light colors of pink for Rit dye, and then like in between that and like the darker wine colors. Seems like a nice middle ground. It looks like it's gonna be pretty vibrant, but not as dark as some other colors, if that makes sense. I don't know. I just saw that one at the craft store and thought, I need to try this. Maybe I need some pink in my life. Maybe I just need to, maybe now's the time to branch out a little bit. Let's, experiment with some of those colors, right? I think with this one, I may end up using kind of a starburst pattern with my rubber bands. I will try to do kind of an all-over pattern on the front as well as the back and get some on the sleeves as well. So tying that up will probably take a bit of time. But for our dyeing process, I will just be following the package directions. I'm going to be doing this in my sink. I will be adding some salt because the directions recommend using a bit of that if you're using cotton, and a little bit of dish soap, I believe. I'll mix in the dye. I probably won't be using the whole bottle. I have to dye a couple other items today, but I also don't want them to be like the brightest pink possible. So I may end up using more like half of a bottle, whereas I would probably use a whole bottle if I wanted a super dark color on all of these garments. We'll see. Of course, I will be taking you over to my kitchen laboratory, showing you how it goes. I'll get the garments in the dye and let them sit there for, I'll probably start at 10 minutes and see if I like the color and then keep on going from there. We'll see, how dark I want them to end up being. And yeah, we'll just have some fun with it. I also have a couple other things that I will be dyeing today, one of which I didn't thrift. But these jogger pants I got from Old Navy, and I thought they would be really great with the hoodie. They are cotton, so hopefully they'll take some dye nicely. And, they are a slightly different color, so they're going to turn out a little different than the hoodie, but I'm hoping I can wear them together. I haven't tried a matchy tie-dye set yet. So, I don't know. But, the beige with the beige, it could work. Matchy tie-dye. I don't know. I'm branching out a lot today. Trying out so many new things here. I also have one other piece I need to dye. And you can tell I have kind of already previously dyed this sweatshirt that I actually got from Costco. I dyed this one salmon in a previous project. And don't get me wrong, this color is kind of amazing. It is very vibrant. I didn't really love how the dye pattern turned out. I was a little bit sad that I didn't get some of this lighter stuff over here more. And this really bright patch on the sleeve kind of bugged me. And then I don't know if you can see it in the video, but there's some spots. I made the mistake of washing this one with some darker tie-dyed items. I actually washed them in pillowcases separately to try to keep them from bleeding on each other, but I took them out of the pillowcases to launder them. And I think one of the items that had blue tie-dye got on the garment because I've got some smudges. I got some smudges over there and some blue smudges on the sleeve. I was really bummed about that. So I think we're gonna add some pink to just, change this up a little bit, add a little more interest, hopefully work in some of the odd colors that arrived, and I don't know, maybe turn it into something I like more. We'll see. Okay, time to head to the kitchen. Let's get started. Okay guys, welcome to the lab. You can tell I've got some towels down, I got a little tarp on the floor. I like to protect surfaces as much as possible. Good prep means less cleanup, right? Yeah. Here's some of my favorites. I gotta have paper towel, always have spray cleaner. I like the barkeeper's friend that can help you kind of gently buff a dye out of like a surface, like a cabinet or countertop, or of course the stainless steel sink. Of course I have a sponge floating around here somewhere. Got some salt, got my gloves, always good if you don't want to tie-dye yourself while you're tie-dyeing your garments. Not that that's a bad thing. I've done that, but, you know, if you have to run errands later with blue hands, it looks a little weird. You got your spoon, of course, for tie-dyeing. I've got my hot pot going. I'm going to heat that up. I'm also going to be filling up this side of the sink with a whole bunch of hot water. Add some dye, add some salt, and add some garments. Here we go. Okay guys, wow, so these have been in the dye for a little over 15 minutes. And as you can probably see, we have a serious fuchsia going on. Okay, so here's the hoodie. You know, it was whitish, so it's definitely picking up the cooler tones of the pink. Here are the pants, so they were cream, so they're going a little bit warmer tone. Very cool. And then here's the originally coral sweatshirt. Bam! Wow, we're getting some red going on. Like, I think I'm definitely going to like this guy better when he's had some dye going on here. But I want to, before I pull these guys out, I want to go through and look and make sure I don't have any really bright white spots that I don't want. It looks like the twists on this guy are turning out pretty bright, which actually I'm good with. So, sorry, take back what I just said. I'm going to leave the starbursts tied up because I do want those to be pretty bright, I think. Hopefully they're not too bright, but I do want them to show up. So, maybe I'll go and, like, loosen them a little bit so that they're not, like, super bright white, but they get a little bit of pink in there. See, because they are pretty white, right? Maybe I'll just, like, pull at them. A little bit. But I do want to see the starburst, but I don't want just like a giant white patch. I didn't tie them super tightly, so hopefully that'll be okay. Okay, I'm going to leave that guy. Now, let's double check the pants here. I kind of bunched them up and then rubber banded. So I got a bunch of cream spots. So I think I'm going to kind of pull the rubber bands apart a little bit and try to get some of that becoming a little more pink. I was also trying to make sure I didn't have like a bright cream spot right on the butt or something like that. Be awkward. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of pull apart a little bit. Ooh, Try not to undo all the bands though. Let's try to get a little more pink in there. Like, I don't want them to like completely disappear or be as dark as everything else, but just got a little more showing up. Okay, I want to make sure I'm doing that on the other side too. Okay, whoa, turning the pants over. Yeah, because like the edges that are really exposed to the dye are getting the super dark color, but the insides are, of course, pretty bright. Which, I mean, that's a cool look too. I'm just going for a little bit more of an overall pink. You know, I may take off a rubber band or two just to loosen this up a little bit. Yeah, I think that'll help. Okay, let's take off one on this end here too. Cool. Okay. I think that'll help with the pants. Okay, get those guys in there. Okay, sweatshirt. How we doing? Whoa! Woo! Okay, this is amazing. I have no idea what this is gonna look like, but it's kind of cool. Okay, I'm gonna maybe just loosen him a little bit. I still want some variation on this guy because I want it to look like he was salmon and added pink to it. So just a little bit of loosening, especially with some of the really bright spots. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave these guys for, I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6 more minutes, and then I think I'm gonna pull them out. Then I've got one more optional step I need to do. Since I do have some fixative, I think I am going to be using some of this. Before I really rinse out the garments, I'm going to remove them from the dye, fill up the sink again with some more hot water, add a bunch of fixative, and then stir the garments around. You know, I can take off the rubber bands and stuff, but I'll stir them around in the fixative. Hopefully that'll kind of seal in the dye a little bit. I don't know. I'm still kind of learning how the fixative stuff works, but I'm going to do that, just kind of an extra optional step just to hopefully lock in the dye. And then once I'm done, I'm going to wash out those garments, rinse them out, lots of water, and then launder them probably on cold, and show you what they look like. Yay! my gosh. Fuchsia for the win. Man, okay, I think I found another favorite color. Do I say that every time? Maybe I do, but this is pretty fun. Yeah, I am loving that this one is pretty vibrant, but it's also not too over the top. Granted, I added about half a bottle of dye and I was dyeing 2 sweatshirts and some warm-up pants. So I think if I really wanted a really vibrant color, I should have used at least a whole bottle of dye, but I was going for a little more subtle like this, and it worked. I gotta say, the pants and the top definitely look a little different because you remember the pants were kind of a cream color and the top was mostly white. I think if I wanted that difference to be a little less, I should have chosen a pattern for the top that showed maybe a little less white, or I could have put the sweatshirt back into the dye for a few minutes after I took the rubber bands off to kind of turn the starbursts a little pinker instead of so white, because that white definitely shows a contrast to the pants. But you know what? It's like a beachy outfit. I don't care that it doesn't totally match. But hey, speaking of putting things back into the dye, you guys probably noticed that once I unwrapped the pants, they had way more cream, way more bright light spots than I wanted on there, despite the fact that I'd gone back and kind of opened up those rubber bands and such. So I ended up putting the pants back into the dye, and I actually put them in there for, it was more like 15 minutes or so, because it just really wasn't taking much dye at that point, and they were pretty bright. So that's a good note to self. Maybe don't drain the sink of dye until you're done unwrapping things and you're sure you don't need it. I've definitely made that mistake before. Also, I guess I could have tried tying these up a little looser. Maybe I could have taken off more rubber bands as I was checking, just to make sure I got more color in there. I just wanted these mostly pink-ish because the tan isn't really a favorite color of mine, and it was also a little opaque. So pink for the win on those guys. I'm glad I was able to put those back into the dye to get them a little bit brighter. Of course, you can also dye another color over if you ever take something out of the dye and you don't love the way it looks already. But okay, you got to see this one though too. Okay, so the salmon sweatshirt may now be like my favorite thing ever. The the fuchsia dye over the salmon gave us some patches. I don't know if you can tell, but they're like some patches of like scarlet over here. And then like you still have some patches of salmon, but then you have some like magenta over here. And I also love how the brand name didn't dye the same color. Sorry, I'm like putting the camera out of focus, but anyway. Yeah, good note to self. If something doesn't turn out the way you want, you may be able to over dye it. RIT also has a dye remover material as well. You can always try, but I was really excited that this guy turned out. I think he may end up being a gift to my sister, and we may end up wearing these, on some adventures. So I can't wait to wear these, and I'll show you what they look like. Now, I'm not planning on being able to travel to Maui anytime soon, but I have absolutely no shame in thrifting myself some souvenirs to help me get into the aloha spirit a little bit. I love this bag. The colors are so great, kind of the retro print. Love that. It's just a kind of smallish sized shopping bag. I'm assuming somebody possibly bought it at the, what does that say, Grand Hotel on the umbrella. Yeah, hopefully it was a fun trip and somebody brought home some good souvenirs in this bag, and now we get to transform it a bit. I love this as is, but it is a cotton canvas bag, so you know what that means. That means it would be great for a tie-dye project. I'm trying to play around with ideas of what colors I want to dye this. I wanted to do something that would kind of go with the colors. I mean, my first thought was like yellow because I love the yellow sand, the yellow words, super fun. But then I'm actually really enjoying kind of that teal in the background and the green and the blue kind of purple pops. And I don't want to cover those up too much. I'm afraid if I dye it a warm tone, it will cover those up. So I'm thinking, so far I'm thinking maybe a little of this guy, the teal Rit. You know, the teal for me seems like it kind of skews two different directions. It kind of goes sky blue in lighter parts, and then it kind of goes more a little olivey green in the darker areas. So I'm kind of thinking that that might play nicely with the kind of cream colored bag, but also the blue sky water in the background. Maybe. One of my strategies is I think I'm going to tie kind of a giant starburst over the graphic design in the front and kind of twist it up tightly. And I'm hoping that that will actually kind of hide some of the graphic design and some of that fabric in the tied up fabric a bit and make it so the dye doesn't dye too darkly over it, and then kind of leave the other areas maybe as is. We'll see. I'm not sure if this will work, but let's try it. Let's switch on over to time lapse and make a starburst. And then, of course, we will be heading over to the kitchen and following those package directions on the bottle, doing a little more dyeing in the sink, and hopefully turn this thing teal. Here we go. So my sister's visiting, and we decided that when my parents come to visit in a couple days that we need them to have tie-dye sweatshirts too. So we went to Costco, and we got gray hoodies, but they're not going to be gray very long because I happen to have a giant bottle of eggplant colored Rit dye, and we're just going to do this in the sink tonight and wash them, and then we're all going to wear tie-dye sweatshirts. My parents may not be as thrilled as we are, but that's okay. Everybody needs some tie-dye love in their life.